Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're here for another one. We are here for another one. And I'm super excited today to chat with one of the creators, one of the largest creators last year that was really shining a light on the Karen Read case. And that is the DUI guy, right? We're going to bring him up in a second. But what I want you to do is give him a warm welcome. Type buckle up in the chat. That's what we're doing. Type buckle up in the chat. We are live. We're ready. We're super excited. If you guys have been living under a rock, you haven't heard about the Karen Read case. And I'm in the rabbit hole now. The ID thing came out, like the documentary came out this week. I was just like, oh my God. It's blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind. It's going to be crazy. Thank you guys for typing buckle up in the chat. I put out a short on Twitter. It's moving right now. I'm like, oh, okay. People like it's just my thoughts on the case so far. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. We had stop and shop bags. I was done here. I was done with these. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Well, I am happy that you guys are typing in buckle up because this is going to be fantastic. DUI Guy, if you have not heard of him, has over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, was really like nose to the ground on this case last year, did every single day last year. If you can go back to the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp days, this is an attorney that was in the courtroom back then. I'm super pumped to be able to talk to him. And thank you guys for giving him a warm welcome on our stage. But coming to the stage, let's bring up the DUI guy. How are you doing, Larry?
Good. How are you all?
Buckle up. It's the law.
Buckle up. It's the law. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited.
Of course. I'm excited to do it too. I'm so happy because like we have a mutual connection. Shout out to Chandler. How is she doing?
Oh, she's doing great. She's at work right now.
Okay, got it. So tell me a little bit about how did this case catch your interest? Like, let's start at the beginning, at the very, very beginning. How did you get involved?
September 2023
Okay.
is the date. I think it was like September 8th or something. I remember I was in Poland, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
There was this word on the grapevine that I need to talk to a certain individual by the name of Aiden Carney, who goes by the tag Turtle Boy, also known as Turtle Boy. And I understand you had him on the show just a week ago, right? Last week?
Yes, last week.
So you're familiar with like I met him before the first trial even happened, right? This was like 6 months, 7 months before it even began. And there was a lot of hype. There was a lot of attention, a lot of tension between the defense and the prosecution in the Karen Read case.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when he first described it to me, I was like, well, tell me the story. And he's like, well, allegedly she hit him with a car and she killed him. I was like, okay, that's it. That's the whole case in a nutshell. The prosecution's case. The defense's theory, which I subscribe to, not because I'm a criminal defense attorney, but because it's the only one that makes sense, is that John went into the house. This is deceased officer John O'Keefe.
Mm-hmm.
He went into the house. There was an altercation, probably with Brian Higgins, maybe Colin Alberts, a few others. Like there's a lot of evidence that smells like they're involved for various reasons.
Yes. To say the very least.
The very least, right? And yeah, there was evidence he went into the house. He got beat up. They dragged his possibly lifeless body. I now have a theory that he was still alive. They just didn't know what to do. And that's why Jennifer McCabe Googles "Has long to die in the cold." She's so stressed, like she does a typo.
Right.
And basically, once they, check his pulse, they realize, all right, he's gone. They drag his body to the front or carry it, whatever, and just leave him there. And meanwhile, Karen is gone. She's long gone.
Mm-hmm.
And hours later, I think like she bumps into a car, whatever, her taillight is broken. And that's how the police officers, the lead investigator, Trooper Proctor, which I'm sure you guys have heard by now, has been fired officially as of 2 days ago on Wednesday.
God.
Thank God, is right. But yeah, and in a nutshell, I asked Aiden in my September 2023, my very first interview, my very first introduction to this case. I asked him, I was like, okay, can you show me the photos? And he sent me behind the scenes. Obviously, didn't show it on screen
Yeah.
because I'm like, I have done, DUI fatalities in my
Mm,
practice, my personal
right.
practice, and I've
Right.
seen other people's cases where they have fatalities. I know
Ah, that's
what
right.
it means to for a vehicle to have impact with an individual, what it looks like, what it's going to look like on the person. If they're consistent, then she killed them. If
Hmm.
they're inconsistent, then there's something more heinous going on. I
Yeah.
was like, it doesn't take a genius. It just takes, 5 seconds of an experienced criminal practitioner. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm being serious. Like,
No, we're going
you
to
can
dive
just,
into tooting that horn because that's an important point. It really is. I mean, you have experience with DUI accidents, and that's what they were saying this was,
yeah,
right? Like backing into him in the mid, like in the snow. And I've been to that property, I've seen it. It's like in the snow, there wasn't a curb lining that home.
yeah,
There's not a curb. So
yeah.
for it to happen in that way at that level of speed in those weather conditions is crazy. So
And
with your,
also, how do you splash splash broken and open the rear light, the tail light of the SUV, and have it like travel 50 feet, or not
oh
50, what was it,
yeah, yeah,
25 feet? They
magically
found it
goes over there.
near the flagpole and near uh
Hmm.
the fire hydrant. I'm like, nothing makes sense about this case from a physics perspective, from a
Nope.
math perspective, from a
Nope.
like medical perspective, logic, common sense. They're all absent, every single one.
Yeah, it's insane. It's
And after
insane.
that, I was hooked. I mean, I followed the trial, and we can get into whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, so it started with you and Turtle Boy having, a conversation about it. That's what hooked you in. And he showed you some, like, some pictures. What pictures did you see?
The autopsy,
Okay.
uh,
Okay.
John O'Keefe's deceased body, and pictures of
Hmm.
the vehicle. That's all I really wanted at the outset, and that's enough for any sane human being. That should be enough to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those that are not familiar, two things with the autopsy and like the shards of glass. This was in the snow. They were bright red. There was leaf blowers everywhere. I don't know. Like the case still gives me a headache because just the way that the evidence was collected was a big problem. But also at the same time, the conditions and everything that we're looking at the crime scene, there were problems there. The other big thing is nobody inside of the house was questioned like immediately. It's just like, what is this? Like, how does this make sense? So when you got into it, this is what piqued your interest. But when you started watching the case, what were some of your thoughts? Because I felt like I needed a drink every day after watching it. I was just like, what is this?
That's hard to do for a non-drinker such as myself.
Yeah.
Um, but I see your point, and how did I get through it is pure. You just have to vent. I would vent to my audience every day.
Okay.
We live streamed the trial. We went to Massachusetts. I was in the
Nice.
courtroom. Chandler was in the courtroom. It was a little bit difficult because Massachusetts has this really weird media rule where
Yes.
if you don't have a website, like a news website,
Yes.
it can be
Yes.
outdated. It can be like 10 years old and you haven't
Mhm.
even uploaded a single thing on it. But as long as you have one, you're considered media. If you don't have one, you're not media.
Yep.
And I tried to get in. I was like, I have a YouTube channel. And they're like, that does not
Mhm.
qualify. I was like, okay, I have my law firm website. It's not a news channel or a news site or whatever. And I'm like, what? Are you living in 1937? Like, what is wrong?
Yeah. Well, this is also a state that, from we still have laws that are active from the 1600s. It's
Oh,
weird. Law school here was the weirdest experience ever.
tell
Like
me about it.
it's super, super like antiquated. There are some like old laws that are still in place right now. But to your point, I had that experience too, where, I was like, okay, if Trump is like giving out press passes at the White House, I think at the outset we could look at, possibly doing that here. I mean, I'm local, I'm a Boston-based creator. I would love to go there, but I think that they are not very media friendly right now. And I got the same pushback. I'm like, okay, it's
Mm.
61K. You know, one of, I think the dean of my former law school is like a legal analyst on many news platforms. So I'm like, huh, all right, can we go through that angle? And they're like, no. And like you said, like you're a YouTuber, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So we
Yeah.
got the interest. Tell us about, so, you know, you vented to your audience. What are some of the other things you kind of felt about this case as you were watching it play out?
Every day was an adventure, literally, because you have to understand this case brings to the table one of the most bizarre things I have ever experienced in my entire life. The first trial, and even more so now, the second trial, because the free Karen Reed movement is growing by,
Mhm.
I don't know, by the tens of thousands each month, probably.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the anti Karen Reed movement is growing by the single digits each month. And that's not an
Mhm.
exaggeration because it's very, very consistent with like the dichotomy between the citizenry and the government. You know, for every like
Right.
10,000 citizens, you have one bootlicker, as my audience likes to call them.
Mm.
Um, so basically, you have this every day. You're watching this trial, and you have this feeling of something's gonna come out. There's gonna be an inconsistency. There's something's gonna happen. There's so many people testifying. There are so many people giving their testimony. Someone eventually is gonna slip up, and we had that. We had that
Yeah.
twice during the trial. We had Allie McCabe and Nicholas Barrows. Allie
Mhm.
McCabe slipped up, and she said something like after he went into the house talking about John O'Keefe.
Mhm.
And I was in the courtroom for that moment, actually. I was literally
Were you
watching.
really?
I was live for that moment, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
When she burst into tears like, Colin has been, like, very harassed and all of this. She was not crying because of Colin. She was crying because she realized she slipped up, and she's like, if she single-handedly, like, tanked this whole case, she would have probably been murdered by her own family, like,
The
actually.
tea,
You
guys.
know what I
The
mean?
tea.
But Nicholas Barros also brought something else to the table, and
Mhm.
something I think very useful. Unfortunately, no one else corroborated his evidence, and I think it was kind of lost on the jury.
Yep.
He said the taillight was not fully broken; it was just cracked.
Okay. That's big too. Because we're seeing, like, we saw Trooper Proctor open all those bags. Hold on. I think
And
I
both of
have a
them,
Stop and Shop bag here.
both of them, both of
Like,
them,
they were just pulling out pieces and they
ha-
were like shards,
both of
not
them have been
cracked.
taken off the prosecution's witness list for trial number 2. Think about it for a second.
Guys, listen. I'm so happy you're here today because we're like a week away catching up, and now we know what to look for.
Yep. But
Wow.
they're on the defense's witness list.
Okay.
There is so much. Please, I'm gonna stop talking and let you guide me because I will go on and I will not stop talking. I'm
Well,
sorry.
there's just so much to
There's
catch
so much.
up on, right? Because like
Yeah.
that's the other thing. Like we've watched like some of the explosive testimony. Like we've seen Brian Albert, which I mean I can't. Higgins, like that testimony sends me. Like
Oof,
it really just
Higgins gave me the shivers.
right. Like it's just like, oh, so you destroyed your phone, but you did it in you put them in 2 bags, and then you went and drop the bags off at a military base just because it was convenient, and you just ride around with trash. Like that's what we do. It's insane. It
Exactly.
really is. So we saw that. We saw Jen McCabe, but I think we definitely, people have been telling us to check out Colin, right? Like his testimony as well.
Colin,
Tully for
yeah,
sure.
his I don't remember. He's so unmemorable, both, both as a person and in his testimony. I mean, you should watch it. Absolutely watch it.
Yeah.
Like watch like with him, I would watch the direct and the cross. He wasn't up there for very long,
Okay.
but
Okay.
it's just I can only imagine, like, as we're sitting here right now having fun talking about the shenanigans that happened, and
Mhm.
at the end of the day, there is a woman that is being accused,
Yes.
and she's suffering every single moment of every single day while this
Mhm.
case is going, and this is all at her expense, and God bless her for being so strong.
Yeah.
She has the support of us and her family, and I'm sure that keeps her going. But
Right.
what was I going to say? Colin Alberts, I think I was going to say. I forgot what I was going to say, but Colin Albert's
Yeah.
testimony, for the most part, I'll be honest with you, is you can almost skip over it. There's
Okay.
nothing of value in there. Oh, I remember what I wanted to say. So as we're having all this, entertainment for your audience,
Mhm.
preparing them for
Mhm.
this trial and so on,
Mhm.
can you imagine right now, as we sit here today, Jennifer McCabe and all the McAlberts are sitting
Yes.
in the room right now, watching the testimony and practicing, making sure that everything that they said is going to be consistent with everything that is going to be said in this next trial.
Mm.
Take a moment to just think about that, folks. How they're just kind of like conniving and preparing. All right, remember, we all have said this, and they have like a chalkboard and flow charts.
Oh,
I can only imagine what they're doing right now. And it's
yeah.
my stomach turns, but I believe it. I wouldn't say it unless I believed it.
Yeah, no, we're about 11 days from trial day. So it's just like, starting that and, starting it over and learning from the first trial. That's what's really unique about this situation. Landing in a mistrial, right? Like most criminal most criminal cases don't end up having a second bite at the apple, so to speak. But at the same time, it shows really what the jury was thinking. They could not agree on convicting her for all three counts, right? So it
Yeah.
also shows what the jury was thinking. How did you feel about the result of the case when it happened? Because you went to the courthouse live and you were covering this every single day. How'd you feel about the end result?
Extremely disappointed
Yeah.
because the judge never gave Auntie Bev, we like to call her, because,
Yes.
or I just started calling her Bev.
Everybody, yep,
No,
everybody's calling it Beth.
I have no respect for this woman, especially after the crap she pulled on Alessi yesterday, which we can talk
Mm,
about. It's just
yes.
it's just improper, just unprofessional and
Mhm.
childish. Anyway, uh, she should have polled the jury. It is actually very common. I don't know if you have seen it in trials before, but I have
Mhm.
done trials. I know trials. I've
Yep.
had jury trials where I'm the first chair, lead counsel,
Mhm.
and I've had hung juries before. I've only had one actually my entire career out of my
Really?
50 plus jury trials. Yeah. Um, I have one hung jury. I have a few mistrials, but I have one hung jury. And I think I know exactly why I lost it, but we won't get into it. The point
Mhm.
is, the judge at some point he was like, "How are you guys split?" He asked them point blank, right in the middle of the
Yeah.
courtroom. And they're like a 3-4 and three against, 50-50. And
Okay.
he's like, I'm not gonna make them go back and redeliberate. It seems like you guys are right down the middle. And I asked him afterwards, I was like, what happened? Why were you guys? And they told me, and I was like, oh my God, I could have fixed that so easily, but you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. The
Yeah.
prosecutor attacked me instead of the facts because he knew he was losing. And he attacked me in his closing argument. And he gave me like this backhanded compliment, which I'd never forget. I made it into a commercial. But anyway,
We have to see this.
it's somewhere. I forget where I put it.
It's a backhanded compliment.
He
What
said
was it?
he pointed at me and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the best lawyer money can buy," pointing at me in open court. And like he didn't do this, he didn't do that, he didn't do this, and I'm just like, what do I say? Like, do I object? Like, what do I do here? No one has ever said that to me before in open court.
Wow.
He knew he lost, but that was the only way to salvage, is to show that I didn't do certain things. He changed the burden of proof from
Mhm.
the government has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt to the defense didn't prove it beyond whatever the hell I say.
Right.
And we ended up winning that case anyway. He didn't want to retry it, and he was like, I'm sorry I did that to you, but I had to." And I'm just like, if you say so. But he's a worthy adversary. I respect him.
There
So
we go.
back to the hung jury.
Yes.
The Karen Reed case, the judge, Bev, should have asked the jury, poll them. So on count one, how are you guys divided? 12-0, Your Honor. Oh, whoa, wait, whoa. We have like a verdict basically on that. Well, yeah, okay. What about count two? 8-4, 9-3, 6-6, whatever. Okay,
Yeah, you
so
get
you
the
guys
numbers.
what about count three? 12-0. Oh, okay. So you guys are only hung up on charge three. Or excuse me, charge two. Yes, Your Honor. Well, do you think you can go back to deliberate? Yes, we can. All right, go back and deliberate. And then they come back. And then there is a universe where the judge is going to go, well, because the jury is unanimous on charges 1 and 3, I'm going to, if she was a good judge, I'm granting, motion to, it'll be like, what would be, I'm gonna honor the jury's verdict on charges 1 and 3. Thank you for your time. You listened to the evidence, and the prosecution, since you're hung on charge 2, I'm going to release you on charge 2. And Mr. Lally, if you wish to proceed on charge 2 in a separate trial, you're more than welcome to. But charges 1 and 3 are officially dismissed pursuant to the jury's verdict. And that is something that has never happened before when a judge didn't even inquire.
Yep.
I've never seen that before in my life.
Yeah. That's the other thing, like, because we have just been coming off of the YSL trial. We did the ASAP Rocky trial. And then watching this one, we are so used to hearing, like, when the objections happen, to talk about the basis. And, so that way people can hear what's happening. We noticed that with the Karen Reed trial, at least the first one, she does not allow that. And it's so strange because we have no idea what's happening. And sometimes some of these objections are being slipped in. And, we saw Lally kind of like mention things, or at least start speaking before he objected. And I was just like, okay, this is so weird. So the way that she handles the courtroom is definitely different, to say the very least. Had you noticed anything else that you think procedurally, like the way that Auntie Bev was kind of handling the courtroom, that impacted the first result?
That impacted? I had an answer for you until you said that word. That impacted the first result. What do you mean?
Meaning the result of the case ending up in a hung jury. Do you think that any of her actions kind of contributed to that?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
I don't think that she is very conniving. She's very sneaky. Do you remember the Parkland shooting trial? Did you follow that at all?
Not too much, but tell us more.
Do you remember the judge was reprimanded by the Judiciary Committee for her behavior?
I did see that in passing.
Yes. And I don't know exact specifics, but I remember one time she basically was like, "Sit down and shut up," like, to the defense, because they were like, they were acting out. They were acting like children. They were doing stupid things. They were like, using, sitting around like this with their middle finger sticking out.
Oh gosh.
And I'm like, they did it for the cameras and it's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But the judge, the way that she reacted, she couldn't control her emotions.
Mm.
Bev is on some very, very strong benzodiazepines or something of the like.
There's a lot of exhales. There's a lot of deep exhales. Yeah, it's like, okay, like, you're not telling us what you're thinking, but at the same time, we can hear you.
Mm-hmm. She's very biased. I mean, she's got a lot of nicknames: Benzo Bev, Biased Bev, Auntie Bev.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason for that. You earn a nickname based on your behavior.
Right.
And she is behaving in a way that does not comport with a sitting judge, but she is very careful about controlling her emotions. I think, again, whatever she's taking is definitely helping.
Mm-hmm.
I think she would have lost it by now. But
tough case. It really is.
She as long, because everybody's like, we need to recuse her, we need to remove her. Has her conduct risen to the point where she needs to be recused by, like, the SJC? I think SJC is the governing body in Massachusetts, right?
Yep.
So the SJC could come in and remove her, but she knows that she hasn't done anything so extreme in an entire trial, and motions before trial and motions after trial and leading up to this trial. She hasn't done anything so egregious as to be removed just yet.
Yeah. So she's careful. And that's what we saw in YSL. Like, we had a recusal of a judge. Like, Judge Glanville was the original presiding judge, and then it was removed to a second judge. So that was a little bit different because we got to see the difference.
Didn't he do, like, he had ex parte communications with the prosecution and got caught by the defense, and then he locked the defense lawyer up in jail for that, for catching him.
Yes, for calling him out on it.
Yeah.
He's just like, for calling him out on it, and all he wanted to know is who told He demanded the name. He was just like, the names must be named. Who told you that this meeting happened? It ended up being a deputy in the courthouse. But it was a very different situation, because in that case we saw recusal and we saw two different
But
judicial
that's
styles.
extreme. That's extreme.
Yes, it's
You have
very rare
ex
too.
parte community. Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
it's more common than you might think, but you got to get
Hmm.
caught first.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. The names must be named, and not for nothing, but it's being nationally televised. Georgia, I think it was Gactel, the Georgia Criminal Defense Attorneys like Association. They were all there. Ashley Merchant showed up. Like, everybody was riding for Brian Steele, who was Young Thug's lawyer, who was the one that was, being almost thrown in jail because of this
Did
under that judge. So,
he didn't rat the deputy out, did he?
nope. No, I think it was, I forget, because there was just so much with that trial for 170 days.
Girl,
But
good for
I
him. I'm
forget
glad
who
that he
the
did for him.
original source was, who the original mole was, but it eventually came out that it was
Well,
a deputy.
if everything eventually comes out, it's just like
Right.
in that moment of like, "You tell me now," and
Exactly. Like, crazy,
I
crazy.
love
So
that.
in
I
this
love that.
situation,
I
like
live
with,
for that stuff.
right? So with Auntie Bev here and Hughes, usually, guys, I like to read the super chats towards the end, but Miss Pam Salters has just gifted 50 AV memberships. Thank you
Holy
so
crap!
much, Pam. She's
Wow!
currently making it rain in the chat. Pam, thank you so much. If you have received a membership from Pam, again, we usually like to make the conversations flow, but when somebody steps out of the frame like this and you're making it rain in the chat, you're helping us grow our community. Pam, thank you again. She did this last week with Turtle Boy. She is very invested in the growth of this channel. And I just, if you have received a membership from Pam, say thank you. And if you're new here, and you just got a membership, please give her a double thank you for that. We're really lucky to have DUI Guy here to talk about his experience, and I'm just so happy that Pamela is putting it forward. So thank you, Pam. And I hope you're healing well. And again, guys, if you received a membership, say thank you to Pam, and shout her out in the chat. That's super generous and very nice of her. She does not have to do that. So amazing stuff there.
That is awesome.
It is. It is. Coming back to this though, because now that we're seeing what the end result was of this case, and also kind of understanding the differences, right, with judges, because this is going to be Bev's second time presiding over this case. We've been seeing a lot of hearings over the past few weeks, and there was a pretty explosive one yesterday where I believe the most powerful words of the day were "do it." So let's talk a little bit about the hearings
Give
over
me
these
just
past.
1 second.
Yeah. Do your
Hold that
thing. Do your
thought.
thing. And while he does that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and read a few more super chats real quick. But again, Pam, this is perfect timing, and you mean so much to me as a creator when I have people. It's still raining in the chat right now, Pam. It's still raining. Wow. Let me come to a few super chats, and then I am going to come to an ad read real quick before we continue with Larry. But real quick, Kita G, an attorney up here in from the Boston area. Kita G and I actually went to the same high school. It is amazing how small the world is. She says Hank Brennan is a sleazy, immoral attorney. Bias Bev lets him get away with bad behavior. She wants Karen convicted. I wish Karen had not done all those interviews because the Commonwealth will twist her words. Yeah, that's the other thing. I wonder if that's going to be like fair game and trial 2.0. Interesting stuff. Pretty Eyes, good to see you. Been a member with me for 5 months. Haven't seen you in so long. She says 5 months already. You're the best, Pretty Eyes. Thanks for being here today. Hope you're having a great Friday. Shout out to AKA the cat lady with the 10. Says, yes, the way Bev treated the defense, juries follow and trust judges, and her huffing and puffing and making degrading comments in front of the jury undermines the defense. Yeah, that's the other thing. I wonder what the result is going to be this time. Different jury makeup. I don't know if that's the case, but it is going to be interesting to see how this happens again. The witness list has been shared. So all of that's going to be interesting as well. But We are 11 days away. And this time I'm right here with you guys. Like, we're going to watch this one together. So all of you guys that are catching up, we have a nice playlist. We bag and tag things properly over here where we curate playlists for you, and we don't put them in red solo cups, but this is just an opportunity for y'all to check out the trial this second time. And we get to do that together. But yes, Pam, thanks again. Really appreciate you and all that you do for the Chatterhood. And look, guys, Pam dropped another 50. She dropped another 50. We have 100 memberships today. Wow. 100 memberships. Pam, you're breaking a record. You're breaking a record, Pam. Look at that. I appreciate that, Pamela. More than you know. This is such, we like to keep it lighthearted over here, but as a creator, when you guys, support the channel in a big way, it means so much. And just to look at the other monitor and just seeing it just rain memberships is amazing. And you guys, I need to see a bunch of thank yous to Pamela, because this is fantastic. This really is. I'm going to bring Larry back up. There we go. It's good to see you. Good to see you.
Welcome back.
Brief little hiatus, and Pam is amazing because she just dropped another 50. So now we're at
oh my God, your audience is incredible. Thank you,
no, they
Pam.
really are. They really are. Like, we're a fun bunch over here, and very, very given. Pam is probably one of the pillars of my channel, so I really appreciate her. B Rich says, we lit over here. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much, Pam. You are awesome. But I really want to get back to this because we started talking about the hearings.
Yes.
And they have been becoming a core topic of discussion these past few weeks. What's your take on the latest hearings? And, because we just had one yesterday. I believe that was a final one. And I remember you covering it because I popped in over there. I was just like, I got to see how Larry does his thing, right? But what's your take on the latest hearings?
So there is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I was not able to stay for the afternoon, but I did the morning.
Yes, caught that one.
And that was one of the wildest things I have ever seen on national TV.
Oh, man.
In latest times. Okay.
Wow.
In months. I don't remember the last. I mean, Alec Baldwin. It was the dismissal of his case on that Friday in July. That it's the biggest thing since that for me personally.
Yeah, because you went to that one too, right?
Yeah, New Mexico. Here's why. That was on the Rust case. Here's why. It's 9 a.m. There are 2 courtrooms and 2 judges that I know of in Massachusetts. We got Auntie Bev, and there's another gentleman, a younger, gray-haired gentleman. A very similar layout, very similar courtroom, but I'm waiting for the footage, and my chat just started saying, Larry, they're live. And I'm like, what do you mean they're live? They're not live. I have the footage pulled up. There's nothing there where I'm looking at the only fan, as we like to call it.
Yes.
The spinning fan, like in the courtroom.
Why do they choose that as a focal point? Like, that's always been strange to me.
You're going to have to ask NBC 10 Boston, audio video personnel, because I have no clue. I have not.
I love it.
But Law and Crime. Turns out Law and Crime had their cameras in the sister courtroom. And I get in like right in the middle, not like right in the middle, but in the early like middle, let's call it that. Brennan is standing there. Apparently he was in the middle of saying something to the court. And all of a sudden you see Alan, Yannetti, Little, Karen, Alessi, they all just file in like gangsters.
Yes, I think I saw this clip last night.
And Karen sits down and she just looks at Brennan and she's just like,
I mean, that was an amazing moment. And I think I've heard some ludicrous music on top of that.
And I'm trying to figure out, like, because my whole chat is like, what's going on? What is happening? I'm sitting there going, I don't know. Give me a minute. Like, I can't answer questions that I don't know the answer to because I have no clue. And at the table, you got Bradel, who's Aiden's lawyer.
Yep.
And Aiden. Apparently, Brennan is interjecting into Aiden's case, asking for any and all text communications between Aiden and Karen
Yep.
before like between like January 29th and I imagine, like February something or whatever, or maybe forever. I have no clue. And he's asking the court for this information. Now, the court unfortunately ended up granting it on
Yeah.
a very limited basis, of course. But, and this is where I think Aiden needs to kind of slow down a little bit because
Mhm.
here's the thing. He admitted this is all public record, so I'm not like ratting
Yeah, yeah,
him out
yeah.
or anything. He tweeted
Mhm.
about this at least 2 times that I have seen, and I called him out. I said, Aiden, you need to stop this. He's like, "Oh, you're welcome to extract my entire phone. I have never communicated with Karen via text message. This is all you're going to see." He tweeted that even today.
Yeah.
It's just going to be blank messages because there are no messages. He said, "I used Signal,"
Yes, he did talk about Signal.
and I'm like, Aiden, stop showing them your cards. Like when you play poker, do you go, all right, I'm all in. By the way, I have 2 queens. I'm all in. Anybody else wanna raise? Anybody?
Right.
Anybody
There's a
like
purpose for a poker face too.
exactly. Just
Mhm.
keep your cards to yourself. Shut the hell up, man.
Mhm.
Because the things that you think you are impenetrable, I don't know. Have Signal records ever been subpoenaed in a case?
I don't think I haven't seen that, and I have experience with Signal because I used to work for like an international bank back in the day, and we would work with people that were in different countries. And it's kind of like for us, it was a solution to WhatsApp that was a little bit more secure,
Mhm.
but at the same time, to your point, you're letting them know what's going on. We know they're all watching. We know that they're watching everything. We know that they're watching, who's covering this, like what's being said. And it reminds me of the YSL trial because there was a gentleman, his name was Little Woody. He would testify, but then like go live on his break and things like that. And it's just like, all right, listen, when you're on the stand or when you're involved in it, just keep it a little quiet. So I agree with you there with certain things where you do want to keep your cards close to, you know?
Yeah. So that was yesterday, and then we went
Mhm.
into Bev's courtroom, and they addressed a bunch of different motions. And to your earlier point, which I was saving for this,
Yeah.
uh, Yannetti actually revised his request. So last trial, like you said, all of the
Side buys. We
side
love our side buys.
sidebar and grill, the sidebars were all secretive. They're all
Yep.
I don't know if I don't even know if they were recorded in any way, shape, or form
I
on
don't
the
think so.
record.
No.
So, like in the Johnny Depp trial, they were all recorded. They were just, they were released after the trial was over.
Right.
But
Right.
in this trial, Yannetti revises because last time he was like, I don't have a problem with this, but this time he's like, I do have a problem with it. And he wants everything to be transparent, whereas Bev wants to do as much as she can in secret.
Ah,
And that's
got it.
again, that's this level of corruption that you just don't expect from judges. Like I heard the other day that there was a family law court judge who shall remain unnamed and location will be undisclosed because I don't
Mhm.
call them out just yet. But there was supposed to be a hearing, like a family court hearing. And if you know anything about family court, which I know less than nothing, but I know enough,
Yep.
it's the wild, wild west. The rules of evidence are out the window, rules of discovery are out the window.
Oh,
It's whatever the judge says happens.
yeah.
And the
That's
judge
very
just
different.
the judge just kicked everybody out of the courtroom and said, "We're holding this hearing in private." Like
Wow.
what do you call it? Not dais. The whole all the pews. He emptied all the pews in the courtroom for no
Uh-huh.
reason. No reason at all other than he just didn't want I because there were a lot of people who showed up to like listen and support one side or the other.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
it's just like, "Everybody out." Like, that's just
everybody
so
out.
yeah,
And
that's
they locked the
crazy.
doors. Had the bailiff lock the doors. Nobody can enter in or out and until the hearing was over and that's just mind-blowing to me. I'm like, who does that? And I was contacted and I said, look, don't jump to conclusions.
Mhm.
Figure it out first.
Right. Right.
And then maybe there's something, maybe there's nothing, maybe he just didn't
Yeah.
want the courtroom to be rowdy. He just wanted to do it in peace.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, like at the end of the day, but I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a,
Because
there's a lot of stuff. Yeah,
yeah, totally. Because a judge has the right to like control their courtroom, but
of course.
sometimes they go a little bit too far. Like we talked about, the Young Thug thing with Glanville. Like, he was talking about the sacrosanctity of his courtroom and that it was sacrosanct. And you're, with this that example that we're talking about, like that's where judges sometimes can go a little bit far behind the line. And Larry, real quick, I mean, chat is going crazy. So Pam dropped another 50 memberships. We're at 150. And it's still raining because Michael Love popped in and added another 50. You guys are like doing it today. We have 2 stream sponsors right now. That is Pam, who is Pam Salters with 150 memberships.
Holy mother of God. I don't think I have that many members on my channel, AD. Good for you.
Listen, like the chatterhood here, we take care of each other. Michael Love, thank you. I can't thank you enough. And I don't like doing interruptions during interviews, but when you guys step over the goal line like
Please
this,
interrupt.
wow,
Interrupt. You're good.
thank you guys. Like I think it's still raining right now. And I think really why we do that is for new people that are coming over. Like some of you guys might have found me through Larry, and we're having this conversation. We're getting into the Karen Reed case is really to show you we're a good group over here. We chill, we're chilling, like the water's fine, like hang out, like we're very welcoming as well. So I really want to thank Michael Love and Pam for really holding down this stream and being our stream sponsors. And Larry's amazing too. Like this is just, I'm super thrilled to talk to you about all things Karen Reed, and I'm just happy that there's enthusiasm in the chat today too. So thank you guys.
Me too. I'm glad that we're bringing this energy and everything.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. Cause it's like, I have found this new free Karen Reed community and movement I did not even know existed, but like in the energy in this state on this is huge. Like there's billboards that are like free Karen Reed, things of the like. And as we're like, yeah, billboards, like people are like really, really supportive of her. I mean, I lived in Canton for a little bit, and there is this, boys club when it comes to police officers, right?
You
like
don't say.
I mean, oh my God. I was just like, okay, everybody's just protecting each other. But like at the end of the day, especially coming from like the YSL trial, if this happened to Black and brown people, I mean, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen to many other races, but it's just, it's happening here. And not to make it about race, but it's just, I'm still baffled. Like it blows my mind. But we're coming away from hearings. Let's talk motions. Motions were released today, right? I think you had the tea on that one. Tell us a little bit more about some of the motions, because if yesterday was the final hearing, we should be getting some final decisions before trial day, no?
Yes, some of them are left out in the open, so we don't have like everything ironclad. There are some that are like, like the voir dire, I think, of Dr. Wolf. The judge clearly stated that I will save that until like their testimony, because she doesn't want to address everything now, because then they'll never get the trial started. That's the thing. Like they'll just be rehashing all these motions, because the Brennan, he filed a stack like last week. I don't have the time, the energy, or even the capacity to go over every single thing.
Yeah.
I'm a full-time lawyer and a part-time YouTuber. So like I urge you, if you want the dirt, the sleaze, and the legal analysis of like a play-by-play, Peter Tragos, the lawyer
yes, he's amazing.
Awesome.
He's so great.
Melanie Little does this as well, but God bless Melanie. She streams for like 8 hours at a time. I don't know how she does it.
And she has kids. And I'm like, Melanie.
But she doesn't practice. She's a full-time YouTuber now. I think she quit her practice to do full-time YouTube. So I know not a lot of you have like an entire work day of time to go, sit and listen. Peter is good, at least he'll do like a live, and he'll do like a full hour or 30 minutes or 45 minutes, however long it
Yes.
takes to like,
Condensed versions,
and
like
then he'll
little
go over
premieres.
all the latest motions, and then
Mhm.
he'll just, it's very nice. And I don't know anybody else who does it like that.
Yeah.
So you can read them yourself, but if you are not familiar with legalese, it's like reading gibberish. It's like reading Latin.
Right.
So he
It
breaks
totally
it
is.
down, and I break them down too, but I don't want to shout out my channel in
Oh
that
my God,
regard.
it's already pinned in the chat. Like, you guys are following Larry today. Like, it's pinned in the chat. Show him some love. So please toot the horn. That's what we do here.
No, but I was saying in that regard, you can
Yeah.
follow me for other stuff because I do
Yes.
reactions to courtroom
Yes.
testimony. I have
Mhm.
a corruption of Auntie Bev video coming out. I
Love
also
it.
have I'm cooking a very fun. I don't want to say too much, but let's say drama is involved, and I never get involved in drama.
Oh,
I am
we love
never
the
involved in
drama.
drama. Never, never. This is the first time I have actually I am directly involved in drama, and I'm like, what? How did this even happen? So
Uh-oh.
that's gonna be coming out like any day now. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. But
Love it.
anyway, I have obviously I covered Higgins. I did
Mhm.
the entirety of
I loved your series on that. That was
Proctor.
amazing.
I did McCabe, Jennifer McCabe. I did Matthew McCabe, and now I started
Mhm.
Yuri Buchanan. So we're still finishing up the Brian Higgins because I have to publish them. It's basically, I
Yeah.
record, they get edited, and then we publish.
Mhm.
So we're on episode 7, I think, right now. I just premiered episode 7 right before I went live with you.
Yep.
So Higgins is on my channel, the next installment, and there are going to be a total of 11. So there are a
Wow.
few more, and then Buchanan, and then there's going to be McCabe. I'll probably do Barros. I'll do Tully because that's pretty quick. Those last 3. But anyway, it's fun and interesting to listen to a lawyer as he's rewatching testimony from last year's trial to be like,
Mhm.
okay, you see what happened right there, and I can give you. I pause and I give you the analysis, my thought process about all this stuff. So if you
Yeah.
do subscribe, you're going to get a chance to enjoy all of that and more.
Yeah, I love it. And here's the thing, like we welcome different perspectives, and that's why I'm bringing more creators on. What we did with the YSL trial, like me and Nick were covering it. So many like new creators, just we're sprouting at the same time as well. And what I noticed is that sometimes, because when we all trial stream, we saw this with Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, we are all exhausted. Right, like just as the creators that are sharing this information, but just the legal knowledge that we all have as well, having different perspectives is amazing. And what I love about your perspective is that you practice like in criminal defense, but you have experience with DUI cases. Like, you're the guy. Like, buckle up. It's the law. Like, so with this particular case being, having some undertones of DUI, it is interesting because they're saying that Karen was drunk and she backed into him and left the crime scene and things of the like. But as far as predictions for 2.0, what do we think is going to happen? And that could be anything, balls in your court, like different witnesses. We've seen those witness lists, but now we have a different prosecutor. So the
Before
anomaly is
before
Lally and go ahead.
before we get into that, you asked me about motions and we got sidetracked.
Ah, yes. Motions and then predictions.
So, and then we'll do predictions. So
Yep.
motions, with respect to motions, I can tell you there was one of the most unprecedented motions I have ever seen in my life filed yesterday. And
Ooh, tell
I,
us.
I tweeted about it. And if you want to put it on the screen, it's literally the second to last tweet.
Let's see.
It's the Commonwealth's motion to compel communications between Karen Reed and David Yannetti stored on Karen Reed's cell phone.
I got it. Let's see. We're going to pull this up, guys, and let me open it in a new tab, make it a little bit bigger so we can zoom in.
This is fresh. This is from literally 9 a.m. this morning.
This guy.
Yes.
Is this the one? Look
Yes.
at this. Look at this, guys. Here it is.
Commonwealth's motion to compel communications between Karen Reed and David Yannetti, her lawyer.
Wow. Oh my gosh. This is crazy.
From
Her
January,
lawyer?
from January 29th to February 2nd. I don't care. You put a time limit on there.
Wow.
You can't, like, he is literally on a fishing expedition. Not only are these privileged attorney-client communications, and he knows this, I think he has completely lost his head because he sees the judge is so favorable towards him. We talked about this, but not enough. If you watch any time Brennan gets up there and he's like, Your Honor, blah, 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 speaking, and the judge would be like, oh, yes. Oh, uh-huh. Oh, interesting. I understand. So just to clarify, and then the minute Alessi or Little or Yannetti or Jackson are up there, Mr. Jackson, no, okay. Is this what I'm sorry, I don't understand what you want from me. So what do you want me to do? Can you explain this to me? Like, her tone, her attitude, the way she approaches the situation
That's
is just
insane.
so glaringly disgusting, that she's so biased against the defense towards the prosecution. And there are other murder trials. I've heard this on the grapevine. Here's some more tea for your audience.
Yeah. Give it to us. We're here for it.
There are other trials, murder trials, that Auntie Bev presided over. She's a former public defender, for God's sake.
Oh, Lord.
She
I
was
didn't
on
know about her
the
background.
murder committee in the public defender's office. The last 3 years that she was in the PD's office, 06 through 09, she was the chief of the department defending people against murder crimes.
What? What is this case? What is it? Like, what? Oh my gosh. It gives me a headache every time I dive in.
And you and everybody else. Fast forward to like 2000 whatever, in the teens, maybe in the 20s, I don't know. She is presiding over multiple trials, and at least one notable, like I said, I heard on the grapevine. It's all hearsay. Okay. So hearsay warning. I don't have first-hand knowledge, but I believe it, that Bev was actually acting in a normal capacity. She treated both sides with respect and dignity. She didn't have this animosity towards the defense or the prosecution. She was equal, but here it's just so lopsided. And this motion that I just told you about, I think Brennan has completely lost his head. He now has on his witness list, he has Jackson, Little,
Yes.
and
Yes. Okay, let's talk about that.
That's never going to happen. That is never, ever going to happen. But it is Auntie Bev, and who knows?
Yeah. That's the thing. They submitted their witness list, and so Karen is the defendant. They put her defense attorneys on the witness list. Like, how does that happen?
He also moved to produce this company that produced the A Body in the Snow, the trial of Karen Reed. It's called Unsolved Productions, is the company.
Is this the ID documentary that dropped this past Monday?
I think I don't know which one it is, to be honest with you, because I got this all fresh. This is from a few hours ago.
Yep.
So I'm still catching up because there's so much. Every minute feels like something's happening, because we're getting close to trial. Like you said, 11 days is 11 days. And so it just keeps going and going. Also, this is the last one that I'll leave you with before we do future predictions. Yesterday, Yannetti, I think, I can't remember, the defense team moved to ask Bev to stay proceedings until the until the Court of Appeals renders a decision about whether or not double jeopardy applies to charges 1 and 3.
Yeah.
Judge Bev said no.
Yes,
so they already had a motion ready. They filed with the United States District Court for the District of Massachusetts. Actually learned just a few days ago, you guys don't have like Northern District, Southern, Eastern, Western. Like, you just have one.
Yes.
Even Kentucky has 2. Like, how are you guys behind Kentucky in the number?
We're a tiny state, little tiny state, We're just up here in the north.
Have a lot of people like you. But listen, I'm not gonna argue. It is what it is. So I looked up the case and I read the order or the motion, and we already have an order. We already have an order from the feds. The feds are like, no, we're not going to stay proceedings. So the trial begins April 1st. That's it.
Wow. Yeah, and that was big news yesterday because there was this looming question on whether or not it was going to be moved out a little bit. Like, I think that's, some of that buzz started earlier this week, but now we know we're starting April Fool's Day, April 1, and hopefully this is a quicker process, but
The
at the
biggest
same
joke that the country has ever seen.
I mean, and that's the thing, like this case isn't getting as much attention that I think it should. Like, some of my folks last year were like, "AV, you have to cover this. You have to cover it. You cannot make it up. I'm telling you, you cannot make it up." And I was just like, "Yeah, but you can't do two trials at the same time, right?"
No, that's
So
impossible.
it was tough to like make the decision, but now that we have the time and we see how much of a big deal this is, I think the biggest thing from an advocate standpoint for all of you guys watching is that this could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
It can happen to a family member or whatever the case may be. And I noticed that as I was watching the clip of Alan Jackson yesterday during the hearing, where he was just like, "Do it." And I noticed Karen's brother behind him, and I was watching his kind of his body movement, meaning like, hey, this is an important thing. This is Karen's life on the line. Luckily she is able to have the funds, because you know how much criminal defense costs. It's expensive, and I was very sad that they did not give her $13,000 back, because when that like guy came up, the expert came up to review video evidence in person, and then he goes to review it and it's not there. It's like, what the hell? This is not it's not an easy process emotionally, but financially, this is expensive. It's so expensive.
And her life is consumed by this trial. You would think like, oh, she has time to go and work. I don't know if she does. Her whole life is this trial. This, she's looking at a potential, basically being in prison for the rest of her life for a crime she didn't commit. I'm convinced of this. How
Yeah,
can you wake up every morning and go, okay, I'll just go to work, or I'll go, get clients? Like you can't focus.
you
And
can.
plus your name is everywhere. They're gonna be like, wait, Karen, Ms. Reed, are you the Karen
Yeah.
Reed being? Yeah, never mind. Thank you very much. I'll see you later.
Yeah, and I was hearing that, she also has like really good support, not only from the, Free Karen Reed movement, but I just learned that, her former coworkers from Fidelity are like really funding a lot of her defense.
Wow. I didn't know that.
So that's huge. Like even just, people coming together to like for a common cause to put money towards something when they see injustices happening. It's just, that is for me what is very surprising about this case is knowing the movement behind her as a defendant, and people really rallying behind her. I didn't realize that it is a big deal. And before, it's like, you could drive by the courthouse and see it. Like, it's like, wow, this is there's a lot of people out here. I did not realize that that was what was happening, or that was the energy around this case.
I should make an introduction for you
Yes.
between you and Tom CPU.
Tom
Chat,
CPU.
chat. Do you guys know who Tom CPU is?
Tell us who Tom CPU is.
Tom CPU is going to be. He's a streamer.
Yep.
His channel is a little. Oh, my camera just went out again.
No, you're good. You're good.
Give
But
me
this is
just
interesting. Yep.
2 seconds.
Yep. I'm dropping down for a second. But what? So many of you guys are here. So many of you guys are saying free Karen Reed. I love it. So many new people are in here. While we get that refresh, let me come to a few folks. Shout out to Make It Count with the 5. Make It Count says it's horrifying that voice objections are prohibited. This is the first time I've seen it, Making It Count. It's simply objection sustained versus hearsay. For example, we saw in YSL, which were invalid. What I loved, and I hate to say this, but with Judge Glanville, is that he made them state the basis, whether it was the prosecution side or the defense side. We had an objection counter for Miss Love, and we were at least going to get to 50 whenever Brian Steele or when someone else was talking. We knew we were going to get 50 objections, minimum. But you know what she had to do? State the basis for every single one of those objections. And it made the conversation much more clear. It made the transcripts much more clear. And it was a lot easier. Here, sometimes it can get confusing. When I was watching some of that stuff back and seeing Lolly, speak before some of this stuff happens or some of it went down, it was just like, okay, that's not really fair. Not at all. Not at all. Bringing Larry back. There we go. All refreshed. We love it.
All right. Where was I? Tom CPU. So your chat
Yes.
says yes, we love him, and they already know the he is outside the courtroom pretty much. There you go. Friend of mine, Tom has two channels, Tom CPU and Seeking Justice with Tom and Mike. The Tom CPU channel is the one I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Tom is great. He's a really nice guy.
Love it.
He's going to have a camera on a whatchamacallit, like the extender sticky.
Okay. Yep. Like one of those gimbal things.
Uh-huh. And
Mhm.
he's going to be outside the courtroom every day.
Wow.
Every day. And if you want like live footage, like let's say trial starts at 9 that morning, the testimony
Mhm.
or opening, whatever is happening that day, it starts at like 9 a.m. and you want a reprieve because it's 8:30 and you're trying to get your audience kind of riled up and getting in. You can probably just live stream his channel. He's not going to copyright strike you. He's a super awesome guy. And I've met him, I've streamed with him, I've met him in person.
That's
I've live streamed
awesome.
with him like from my studio. I've live streamed with him literally from the courtroom as he's holding this little, you know, iPad up or whatever. You're gonna get like insider scoop, like as Karen arrives at the courthouse. He's basically like
Ah.
he's your eyes and ears on the ground outside the courthouse.
That's so good to have. In chat, if you would like that, type yes, Tom, in the chat so we know. Type yes, Tom, so we can show him the demand for this. That would be fantastic. We did that with YSL, actually.
You did.
The lead attorney and I, we had a few folks that were on the ground in
Excellent.
the courthouse. They had like a much more open experience when it came to creators being at the courthouse. Some people were actually able to stream from inside of the courtroom.
Oh wow.
We had Dennis Byron, Miss Sylvia, one of the attorneys on the case, Kayla Bumpus, she was involved in it. She ended up getting permission to stream and things of the like. They were so much more open in Georgia when it comes to criminal proceedings and showing what's happening in the courtroom. Here, I don't know if it's because the courtroom is so tiny and this little antiquated building with the Gothic fencing outside. Like, I don't know if it's too small, but I do think that they aren't as loose with the regulation of it than we saw in Georgia. But having somebody to do that is fantastic. There was one day, I think we were waiting for the verdict. Lead and I were live for 8 hours.
Oh my
And we
God.
just made it work. We made it work. Like we were waiting and they didn't go into the courtroom and turn the feed on until 4 p.m. So having live correspondents on the scene is always great. And, you have experience with that, with going to the Johnny Depp trial, going to, the Russ trial as well with Alec Baldwin, going to this one. I just out of curiosity, do you find value in going to the courthouse itself and then coming back and reporting to your folks, or what do you prefer?
Oh, you just opened a can of worms. This is going to be a very long answer, and I don't want to
Okay.
for too long. But I will just answer it short. Okay.
Yes.
Here's
Yep.
here's how I'm gonna answer that.
Yep.
Before Johnny Depp trial, I had zero intention of ever going to any trial ever. I didn't care. I didn't stream them. I did my
Really?
DUI thing. I was a lawyer on the YouTubes talking about the law. That's all I did. I didn't talk about celebrities. I didn't talk about cases. I didn't talk about updates. It was just what I'm doing, and that's it. And the law,
I love
the
it.
DUI law specifically. Then when Johnny Depp happened, I didn't even stream the trial on my channel.
Really?
No, I did not, and I missed out on probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue and
Mhm.
probably hundreds of thousands of subscribers.
You would have been at 1 million by now.
So,
Like straight up, you would have been at 1 million.
do I regret it? Absolutely not.
Mhm.
Because
Okay.
I have learned, and I would have been a different person and with a different channel and a different audience. and I evolved in the way that I should have evolved. So when May rolled around and I heard that Amber is going to be taking the witness stand, and she took the witness stand on my birthday. That was the best birthday gift I ever got, May 5th,
Wow.
2022. Then there was the judicial conference. So Judge Penny Escarati went to the judicial conference. She left. I went. I decided in that break, I was like, you know what? I want to go. I want to.
Mhm.
I just want a story to tell. That was my only intention. I want a story. Hey, Larry, so tell us something cool that you've done in your life. Well, I spent one day at the Johnny Depp trial inside the
That
court.
actually is pretty cool.
Like, oh my God, that is, and yeah, not only that, it was Amber Heard on cross examination by none other than Camille Vasquez. Oh my God,
Mhm.
and that was day one for me. But then on day two, I just had an epiphany in the courtroom. I'm just sitting there minding my own business, taking notes, and I'm just like looking at the jury and what if I tweet this stuff?
Ah, okay.
The light bulb went on and the rest is history. So since then, I've went to the Kristen Smart trial. I went to Masterson, and I went to the first one. I
Mhm.
went to Weinstein, the second one, the California one. I went to Murdoch in South Carolina.
Wow,
I
okay.
went.
That's, like, down in your neck of the woods, so that wasn't too
I
far
drove. I
from.
actually drove the third time. I flew and then I
Mhm.
flew again and then I drove because I got tired of flying because I had to like
Yeah.
keep coming back because I had jury trials of my own. I had work to do.
Mhm.
And then I went to Alec Baldwin, and I have plans to going. I went to Karen Reed. I have plans to go back to Karen Reed. So I've been all over the place. I've been all over the map. I visited Florida for the Jeremy Hales. I don't know if your audience is familiar with the What the
Ah,
Hales saga.
what the hells? I've seen it. I've seen it.
There's more. There's a lot of stuff happening. So there's all of this. And to answer your question now directly, do I find benefit in being boots on the ground? Financially, if you look at it from pure dollars and cents perspective, you lose. You
Mm.
lose unless my channel would have been like 5 million subscribers. Maybe I would be able to like kind of balance it out or something. But
Yep.
the way my audience is very niche and very specific, it's law stuff.
Yep.
And as a result of that, you get that kind of audience. So, but I have the inside scoop. And that is that nothing beats the inside scoop. When you are actually like when the bomb threat happened and we're sitting in the courtroom at the Alec Murdaugh trial and we're
Mhm.
escorted out of the room and I'm there like, hey, you guys, we've just been kicked out of the courtroom because there was a bomb threat. Everyone's
Right.
like, what the hell, Larry? Are you okay? It's interesting, it's fun, it's exciting. I'm an adrenaline junkie, so I
Yeah.
enjoy that kind of stuff.
Right.
Do I like make more money as a result of it? I'm telling you, I have lost more like from a pure dollars and cents and maybe subscriber quote unquote,
Mhm.
but I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll have plenty of time to make up for that. I have experience, I have stories for days, stories that nobody else has.
That's so powerful.
And
That really is so
to me,
powerful,
that's more
Larry.
valuable than just money, you know?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can always get more money, but you can never get stories of events that will never happen
The
again.
experience, like you were
Experience.
there. Yeah, that's so
Exactly.
amazing.
I just got
And
chills.
it's super cool too because like sometimes there are creators that pop in and they want to like learn what the creator experience is like, so like hearing that from you, it's so powerful because like sometimes like there'll be days where I'm like, do I go, like getting all the equipment, I'm like, do I go to the courthouse, got my little DJI like little gimbal thing, and I'm like, I don't know, but at the same time I like being here because I like the interaction. But every creator has their preference, and like experience. I haven't heard that answer yet because I usually like to ask people, you
But
know.
you have to remember, I'm very blessed and I'm very lucky in the
Mhm.
sense that I have a thriving practice
Yes.
with an
Yes.
excellent team that is able.
Yep.
I can sacrifice the financial aspect of things. Not
Hmm.
everybody can say that. For some people, it's a do or die. If I don't stream, I don't get to eat on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like that's I can't I can't hate on people for doing that.
Hmm.
I built a business. I started building it in 2013, and I'm just at a point in my life where I can literally sometimes, not always, but sometimes I can just at the drop of a hat, I can disappear for a day or two, sometimes a week or two, and I know I will come back and I still have my practice and everything is fine.
Yeah.
And you're working as you travel. I'm still working. I'm returning phone calls. I'm
Hmm.
working. I'm getting clients, and my team takes care of them here.
There
In
we
and
go.
and if you read our reviews, we got a 4.8. I think we just celebrated. You can do your horn. 250 Google reviews as of today. So I'm
Shout
very
out to
proud.
Larry's practice. Where can people find your if they are in, because you're based out of Kentucky, is that right?
Yes, Louisville.
Okay. Okay. Where can people find your website if they need you?
So we have the main one is foremanandassociateslaw.com.
Mm-hmm.
There's no E in Foreman, but if you just Google the DUI guy, I'm all over the place. You can't miss me.
Love it.
Um, Anywhere in the country, by the way. Quick story. It's really funny. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was in Cancun.
Okay.
And I was telling people that I'm a lawyer, and they're just like, "Oh, what's your practice?" And I was like, "I don't know. Just Google the DUI guy, see what happens." We're in Cancun, Mexico. We're not even in the United States. They Googled the DUI guy. I was the top three results on their cell
Wow.
phones with the Mexican, signal or whatever. The It was really cool. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen to
That's
date.
amazing. It
So
really is.
if you just Google the DUI guy, you'll find me on YouTube. I am the DUI guy plus buckle up. As you can
Hmm.
see behind me, I'm evolving my channel from
Yeah, the branding's awesome these days.
the branding is evolving slowly. I'll be the DUI guy probably until the day I die, but the channel I want to make it a little bit more family friendly,
Okay. Yes.
because there are a lot of people out there when they hear like DUI guy, what is he, a professional drunk driver? Does he just get people off? Like, I don't want to subscribe to that. But how can you hate on buckling up because it's the law? Nobody can be like, screw seatbelts. I'd rather go through the windshield than like
No, I love
splash on the
that.
pavement. Nobody
I
can say
love
that.
that. No, like the brand, you guys have done an amazing job with the branding and just seeing the evolution. Your thumbnails are revolutionary. Like we know the brand is amazing. Like if anything, like if there are any aspiring creators out there, if there is a channel you should look at to know what to do, check out DUI Guys channel.
You're
Like
giving
that's
me too
just
much credit. I don't deserve it.
I'm
Please.
nice. I'm nice. But we
I'll
do
appreciate
that.
it.
We do that here at the same time. So let's transition back to predictions because we're
Predictions.
11 days away. There's a lot of hype around this case. A lot of people want her to, have her charges dismissed and for this to result in a dismissal. But at the same time, does John get the justice? Right? That's the
That's the
hard
biggest
part.
question.
Hmm.
Justice for John O'Keefe is the hashtag, that's the umbrella hashtag, if you will.
Yep.
Justice for John O'Keefe, a dead police officer from Massachusetts. And then justice for Karen Reed, a
Yep.
falsely accused woman in his murder. Finding the real killers is the third one. I mean, those are the three umbrellas in that order. Justice for him, free Karen, and then find the real killers, right?
Hmm.
Hopefully in that order, and hopefully it happens at some point eventually. So as far as predictions are concerned, the trial is definitely starting April 1st. Now that the federal court is not staying proceedings, now that Bev is not staying proceedings, 100% chance of trial starting on April 1st.
Right.
Jury selection, if it's going to be anything like the first trial, is going to go on for about 2 weeks. The trial, the testimony, or excuse me, the opening statements followed by the testimony started about like the first few days of May, maybe the last few
Okay.
days of April last
Hmm.
year. So I anticipate like right around tax season is when we're going to have our openings. And then after that, here's what I anticipate. One of the biggest things we're going to see in this trial that we have not seen in the first trial, of course, because we've seen it a little bit, but we're going to see it so much more in this one, is impeachments.
Ooh. Okay. Well, it's about time. We needed impeachments. We needed them. Why?
Because
Tell us why.
now we have the grand jury testimony
Mm-hmm.
of all these witnesses, some of them, shouldn't say all of them, some of them. Then we have some of their sworn statements, maybe at another hearing. Now we have their sworn statements at jury trial. And now we're going to have brand new sworn statements at jury trial again. And as I'm sure your audience knows, because I know that you have told them this without a shadow of a doubt, that if you make two statements and they're both under oath and they're inconsistent with one another.
Yes. We're going to see a bunch of impeachments. You get impeached. You get impeached. Everybody's getting impeached. Like, this is going to be great.
Honey, that's perjury. That's because everybody's like, oh, they can't say that. Isn't that perjury? Because they did that one interview and they said that, and now under oath they're saying something different. No. But if you have two statements, both made under oath and inconsistent with one another, if one says it was 7 p.m., the other says it was 7:02 p.m., I mean, okay, you're not going to be able to impeach on that unless it's like you really need that information. But if one says it was light, the other says it was dark, or the one says it was a blue Toyota, and then the other time they say it was a red Honda, those are inconsistent with one another.
Yeah, and we saw so much of that, specifically with Brian Albert. There was a lot of that with him. But, throughout a lot of law enforcement testimony, it was just like, oh, I did do that thing, but let me clean it up now. And it's like, but you just said something else 2 hours ago. But it's good to be able to see these impeachments finally happen.
I think we're going to see a lot more of those. So that's my first prediction.
Okay, got it.
Next, I think that as the trial progresses, because I can't even imagine compared to the first trial let's say when it started, how many more people have joined the fray from all over the world.
Yes.
Who are following this trial now. It's definitely in the millions. I don't know how many millions. And you're going to have a lot more hype. And there is a possibility that maybe mainstream media will pick it up. I'm not putting money on it.
Yeah.
I would never bet, because there was one case that I did that it was related to the What the Hales with Judge Craig Constantine de Thomasis. It was one of the most heinous abuses of judicial power I think I've ever seen at the time. This is like before Auntie Bev came about, because it was March. It was January, February, March 2000.
Now she holds the title.
No, yeah, she took the title. But we got de Thomasis recused. The SJC removed him, and then he had to recuse himself. Anytime he sees the name Jeremy Hales, he's like, recused. Like he freaks out. We did that. And I say we, it was all of us together. It was me and Randy Shockett and Doreen Incleys and Mark Feather and Jeremy Hales and George Hales and like Chandler. Like we all helped. Like
that's amazing.
In some capacity to get him. And Megan Fox and that umbrella guy.
Yeah.
I can just go on and on. The list goes on. And we all helped make it happen. And shout out to Doreen, because she did the heavy lifting. She actually wrote the motions. Well, Craig de Thomasis is a speck on a mole on Judge Bev's face.
Damn! Wow. The difference.
Yeah. That's how little it mattered, because he is just on this one little podunk case in Levy County, population 37 and a half. Don't ask about the half. I don't know. I just made that up. It's tiny. It's tiny. I've driven through it. I've seen it. There's nobody lives there. There's like 7 people and a couple of dogs. That's it.
Wow.
And he's presiding in that county. Well, that's Otter Creek. I shouldn't generalize like that. That's Otter Creek, but he presides over the whole county and probably sister counties. So his behavior rose to the point where the SJC physically removed him, and it was merited. And I also think that Bev should recuse herself from this case because of her connection to Morrissey, who is the DA who helped get her the judgeship in 2009 with Governor what's his face.
Oh, geez, there's more.
I have a video that's going to be coming out. I don't call out Morrissey by name, and I kind of regret it now. But I talk about a lot of other stuff. It's not because I just completely forgot. I completely forgot to talk about it, honestly. but you heard it already, so it's not a secret. Everybody, I think, knows by now who's connected to this case. But
Mhm.
when she got the appointment, I feel like she owes Morrissey something, and she's 5 years from a forceful retirement. I don't know if you knew that.
Wow. Okay. A
July
forceful retirement. We're almost there.
July 2030, she'll be 70. And according to Massachusetts law, as I've learned,
Mhm.
judges must retire once they turn the ripe age of 70
I
if they're
mean,
still on the
it's
bench.
normally it should be like 65. Like that's normal retirement age, but we're pushing 70.
Yeah. If it would be
Wow.
65, she would have to retire in 4 months.
I mean, right? Like
But
it's crazy.
but
It's
I
crazy.
you gotta think about it. She's got nothing to lose. She's like, "I'm 5 years from retirement anyway." If she was a younger judge, like in her 40s with
Mhm.
a 30-year career ahead of her, like maybe she would be acting different. But she's like, I did my time. I had my fun. Maybe
Yeah,
if
it's
if
been a
I get
good ride.
if I get caught, screw it, whatever.
There we go.
Who
There we
knows?
go.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, listen, I want to cover two more things before we run.
Okay.
First, big news of the week. I cannot believe it. Like sometimes this algorithm plays games with me. But like Michael Proctor got fired. I mean, can we all just give it up? He got fired. He got fired. He's
Why took
gone.
him so long?
Okay, I know. That's what I said. I said, "Oh my goodness, like they canned him now?" Like to watch this trial last year, to hear him talk about a leaky balloon knot, to call her the C word, to say all of that stuff about this woman on camera. And yes, you take him, off of the job and put him in a desk job, suspend him, whatever you do. But like this guy still had a job for almost a year
He
and
was
was able to
off.
say that.
He was like on he's not even desk duty. He was just like on paid leave or something. But yeah, he was getting paid. Taxpayer money still going in his pocket until 2 days ago.
And then 16 hours into the investigation, you're talking about this lady with your friends, like your homies from high school. Crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. What was your reaction to him getting fired? I mean, we just had the claps, but did you see that coming? I mean, many people did. But tell us your immediate reaction to that.
I have to protect my sources
Okay, no problem.
because I did tweet about it a few days before it happened because I
Mm,
knew it was coming.
mhm.
So shout out to you. You know who you are. Uh, thank you
The
for
source. We love the source.
we love our sources. And yeah, I was again, I was surprised it took them this long.
Mhm.
And when I found out that it's coming like any day now, I was like, okay, well, about damn time.
Right.
So yeah, but I was very upset that it took him this long because this should have been it should have happened. The hearing should have happened immediately after the trial was over, or maybe
Yes.
even in the middle of trial. He should have been
Right.
fired in July.
Right.
Like
Right.
before Alec Baldwin even started, Proctor should have been gone bye-bye. So
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like to hear from state leadership, like the governor had made a statement or whatever, but it's like you're making a statement, but what are you guys doing about somebody like this? He
they're
was
appealing.
the lead investigator in this case.
And did you watch the Yuri Buchanan testimony?
Not yet. That's coming next. We have a thumb for
Okay,
that. Like that's coming next.
I don't without spoiling anything,
Mhm.
find the spot and you will find it. You will know exactly where that is and when it happens because it happens multiple occasions and you'll see what I mean. When Buchanan covers for Proctor and says, "Well, no, 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 he wasn't the lead investigator. He was an officer assigned to the case."
Wow. Big
Be on the lookout
difference.
for that.
Yeah, big difference. I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm really excited for that one. So, what I'm doing with everybody that's come on, I asked Turtle Boy. It's going to be a series of two questions to end every single interview. Right.
Okay. Should I be
First,
worried? No, I'm just kidding.
no, no. Karen Reed, first case in one word. What would it be?
Karen Reed, first case in one word.
Mhm.
Injustice.
Okay, I like it. Here's the big question. It's the title of the video. Was she framed?
Is that a real question?
Yes! Type
Yes!
yes in the chat, guys.
1,000 times
Yes!
It's the
Chat,
weirdest thing.
what do you think?
It feels like you're part of a conspiracy, but there are so many people that are wearing the tinfoil hat saying, yes, they all orchestrate, because there's so many players. They're like,
Yeah,
there's no
no,
way that they
seriously.
all coordinated and sitting in Jennifer McCabe's basement taking notes like, okay, and then I said, and then what did I say? And then I said this. So I need to make sure that I remember the notes. Okay, got it. Yep. And then he never went into the house.
Yeah.
It feels like you're part of a conspiracy theory. Like that's you. I mean, you start questioning yourself. That's what
Yes.
gaslighters do. That's what
Mhm.
narcissists do, and they make you question reality. And that's where we are.
1000% yes. Literally, when I started watching this, I think after the fourth or fifth witness, I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this? It stressed me out. But the shenanigans, the shenanigans. But listen, Larry, this has been fantastic. I do want to read one more super chat before I let you go, just because I think she mentioned you. Shout out to Petty Betty LaBelle with the $50 super chat. Thank you.
Thank you,
She
Patty.
says, Larry, thank you for your time. AV and all of us have loved you since Johnny Depp and your famous reaction to that trial. It's great to see you here, and congratulations on 50K. I remember the shit show with LawTube afterward. Yeah, I mean, it happens. But Larry, I just wanted to send you off by first thanking you for your time and congratulations on 500. It is deserved. You're going to get the gold one before you know it. You know, your content is amazing. I'm just really happy that we were finally able to collab. You know, Chandler is such a
Thanks to
gem.
Chandler. Yeah.
Yes. And that's the other thing, guys, that I wanted to mention is that Chandler, you know, I had collabed with her just about a year ago around this time on Courtney Clenny. And I'm so proud of her, and I'm happy to see her become an attorney as well. You guys are amazing. And I'm just so grateful for this time. So Petty gave us the perfect super chat for us to send us off with. But I'm going to hang around for a little bit, Larry. Thank you so much for doing this with me today. And just as a reminder, I'm sure everybody knows it's pinned to the chat, but where can people find you?
I am on YouTube and X primarily. That's our biggest source of following. If you just, like I said, you go on X, I am the DUI Guy Plus. I also have Instagram. You can follow me on there. On YouTube, I am the DUI Guy Plus Buckle Up. So again, if you just search for the DUI Guy, you will find me. If you like content that is short, concrete, direct, to the point, covers recent headlines, interesting topics, I fall into the category of edutainment. I like to educate while keeping you laughing. So it's just who I am. I don't try to be somebody I am not. You will see my authentic self on camera, just much like you've seen here. Obviously, it's just edited for brevity. And I like to keep videos somewhere between 15 and 25 minutes usually, so that if people, you have a lunch break and you want to watch a video, or if you have a you're coming home from work, you're driving, and on your commute sitting in traffic, AV, you already watched AV and you're like, what is this guy up to, what is he doing? Feel free to check out our channel. Don't forget to obviously subscribe to both AV and our channel.
Yes.
The DUI Guy Plus Buckle Up. And you will see, like I said, a lot of, there goes my camera. You will see a lot of content that is very edited, polished, and beautiful and easy to watch.
We love it. And your team has done such a great job. They really have with that. Larry's just refreshing here for a second, guys, but you know exactly where you can find him. I'm just so thrilled that we were able to do this. And of course, I really want to shout out Chandler because she is the bridge that made this happen for us. We're going to give Larry a second here. In the meantime, there he is. Caught you in the middle of that beautiful closing. And I love your shirt too. Like, is that like merch that you have?
No, it's not. It should be. I got it from a lawyer who's a buddy in California.
I love it. Crime.
I don't know if I can. Can you read that? I can't read it.
Nader Law Office. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
SanFernandoCourts.com. That's dope. I love that. Crime instead of crime.
You
That's
got the
dope.
Amazon. Exactly. You get it. It's genius.
I love it.
I love wearing it on stream because it's like,
it's a lot of fun. And it's fitting for a Friday. It is fitting for a Friday. Awesome. All right. Well, Larry, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for your time today. This is so much fun. I know my audience learned way more about the Karen Read case and, what we can expect moving forward now that we're almost fully caught up. We have a few more pieces to get through as far as testimony, but I know, that this was super valuable for them. So thank you for your time today.
No problem. Thanks for having me. And don't forget to subscribe to this woman if you're not already. What is wrong with you if you're not subscribed?
Do it
subscribe right
Do
now.
it right now. Do it right now.
Wait, we're going to sit here. Don't say anything, baby. We're going to sit here and wait until you hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, we'll do it. We're going to wait. We're going to wait.
We're waiting.
We're waiting.
I'm just joking. I really appreciate it. It's been fun, and we should definitely
Yes.
do it again.
Yes, and if you are in Massachusetts, please call me.
I will.
I've got to get you a beer. You and Chandler, 2 beers coming right up.
Non-alcoholic for me. I'll take
oh, yes, non-alcoholic for you, but we can do that. We can do ginger beer.
There you go. Ginger beer is perfect. And we probably, not we, sorry, rephrase. I will probably be in the courtroom in Massachusetts at some point over the next 12 weeks.
All right, we'll see it. That'll work.
This trial is going to be long. This trial is going to be long.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. We love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Larry. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
All righty. All right, guys. Well, listen, this is fantastic. One of my favorite interviews that I've ever done. What I'm going to do real quick, we do need to pay the bills around here. So I'm going to show you guys a sponsor of the stream, which is a company that I work with, that I have worked with for a really long time. And then we're going to finish off with some super chats. So real quick, I am going to bring up Aura, the sponsor of today's stream. They have been taking care of us for years. I appreciate Aura and all that they've done for us and this channel. So give me 1 second, y'all. I am going to just bring up. If you follow this channel, I cover high profile legal cases, legal battles, and the way the justice system actually works, not how people think it works. But here's the reality. When it comes to your personal information, there's no real protections in place. Right now, your name, your phone number, your address, even your family members' info is being bought and sold legally by data brokers. And you don't have to be a celebrity or a defendant in a trial for this to be a problem. Anyone can pull up your details. Yeah, that's definitely an outtake. It happened. Sorry, y'all. I had somebody at the front door. I had to go open it. So I apologize for that one. But let us read our super chats. I'm really excited that Larry was able to join us today and go from there. Shout out to Candy Yates, hits me with a $10 super sticker. Thank you so much, Candy. Appreciate you and always supporting our stream. She's always here, one of the pillars of my channel as well. Good to see you today. Pam, your stream sponsors hit us with a 10, says, please hit the like button, everybody. Thank you so much, Pam. I appreciate you sponsoring the stream today, making the Chatterhood fun again. I love that. Thank you so much, Pam. She has gifted 150 memberships. And then Michael Love jumped in with an extra 50. Petty, we caught this one. Thank you so much for that one. That was very sweet of you. Kind words for Larry, and really appreciate his time today. Kelly Kell gifted 10 memberships. Kelly Kell, our favorite 2L. She is in law school up here in Massachusetts. She is one of the #1 people that have been keeping me up to date on this case and wanting to make sure that we had, caught up with it. She put it on our radar. She's just like, hey, I'm going to send you the witness list. These are the ones that you need to look at. I'm really excited for this one. So Kelly, thank you so much for helping us grow our community. She follows up with another $5 super chat, says, so happy you're still alive. I was working and sad. I was missing this. LOL. AV needs help getting through this madness. And yeah, guys, if you're new to me, the way that you can find me, usually we put everything in the description box, but on Twitter, I'm AV to the 7th power. Here on YouTube, I'm AV to the 7th power, AV7 legal on TikTok, and I think AV7 official on Instagram. So good stuff. Shout out to Hollywood, gifted 1 membership. Thank you so much, Hollywood. Really, really appreciate you. I appreciate you doing that. He does it almost every stream. Miss Kelly Applegate, been a member for 6 months, says, what up, AV fam? Happy Friday. Thank you. Thank you. Then shout out to Candy Yates, been a member for 7 months, says, yes, I learned so much. Great interview, AV. Thank you, Miss Candy. I appreciate you, and I hope you get well soon. Look at this. We have For Fox's Sake. I like this name. For Fox's Sake became a YouTube member. Welcome. You're going to love it here. We're a fun bunch. We love watching trials together. And I'll just let you know now, you will never be bored. Welcome to the Chatterhood. All right, guys. Well, that just about does it for us. Please share this. I was really excited to have DUI Guy on as well. I'm going to do more on Twitter. It's a new space for me, but I'm going to start posting over there a little bit more and then chopping up the great gems that we got from this interview today, just because many people aren't familiar with the Karen Read case. I've been seeing that. When people leave comments and things, they're just, they haven't been familiar with it. There's so much to catch up on, but I think we're almost there. We created a playlist. So if you want to see our reaction to live testimony, you can do that. Shorter videos as well, like Larry was saying. And please check out Larry. He's a great resource because he covered this trial from day one all the way to the end last year and has been very, very close to it. With that being said, guys, we are going to go ahead and wrap it up for the day. Stay safe out there. We'll see you in the next one. Bye. And huge shout out to our stream sponsors, Pam Salters and Michael Love. See y'all in the next one. Bye, y'all.